Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the workshop, Challenges of Applying Academic Research to Real-World Robotics. For those of you online, you should be able to hear. If you can't hear, just say so in the chat. Otherwise, we'll get started. Thanks for getting up so early. I know it's pretty early in the morning and the line for coffee was out the door. But don't worry, I have been told there will be coffee at the break, so if you can hold out for like an hour, there should be more coffee later. This is a workshop organized by co-organizers James Davidson. Okay, trying that again. Workshop co-organized by co-organizers James Davidson, Arun Badaravan, Scott Green-Ursma, and me, Connor Skank. So the focus of this workshop is on the challenges of applying academic research to industry. And we really got to thinking about this because, as many of you know, in recent years, a lot of us academics have been spending some or all of our time in industry applying the algorithms that we developed on the research side to actual commercial products. But this is not inherently an easy thing to do. There are a lot of challenges in doing this, and that's largely focused on the motivation of the two different sort of areas of work. So in academia, we focus a lot on doing things that are not. So if you go to see a lot of papers here at ICRA, a lot of them are going to be doing something new, which is sort of the point. We focus on being very general. An algorithm that's focused really narrow on like a very specific robot in a very specific environment is not nearly as interesting as an algorithm that works in all sorts of general environments with lots of robots. And in general, the point of academic research is to push the boundary of what we know, to find out new things, to come up with new techniques, new methodology. In contrast to that, the point of robotics in industry is to make robots that we can sell to people, that can be useful. So the focus is more on reliability. We care more that the robot works than that it's novel. And we care that it's safe. So for example, I work at Third Wave Automation, work on autonomous forklifts. These guys weigh 4 tons. You're gonna have a bad day if that runs into you. So it's pretty important that that robot is safe. We also care about scalability. For example, if you have some sort of failure case that happens 1 in a million, that's a pretty low chance. And if you're working in a laboratory environment, that's low enough that you probably don't care. On the flip side of that, if you have 10,000 robots deployed in the field running 24 hours a day, 1 in a million is going to happen several times. And so figuring out these issues of scale and chasing what I call the long tail is something that's really, really important in figuring out how to apply our algorithms in robotics to industry robots. And so the focus of this workshop is on just talking about these issues, because it's something we don't actually talk about a whole lot. So figuring out how we can take our academic algorithms that we've developed and apply them to real industry robots to get them to really work and do cool things. So in that vein, some questions to consider. These are some questions I've just come up with to consider during this workshop. For example, which algorithms work well, which don't? How do you modify algorithms to work in very unique situations? This gets back to that generalizability versus specificity thing I talked about on the last slide, where if we have a very specific use case in industry, maybe you could take advantage of that and not necessarily be as general as possible. There's also the issue of what I call chasing the long tail for scalability. How do we make our techniques scale from single digit or even dozens of robots in the lab to thousands or tens of thousands or even more robots deployed in the field? How do we find those really rare failure cases and chase them down and get our robots to actually be reliable? There's also an issue of safety. Can our black box methods like deep learning actually pass regulatory standards? How do you safety certify a neural network? How can we prove to government agencies, regulators, and to the public at large that our robots are safe? There's a lot of research in academia right now on how to make our robots safe, and that's great. But the next step is then we have to prove it to people who are non-technical and say, yes, this 4-ton forklift is not going to run you over. And so in general, what I'm really interested in is how do we actually make robots that we can put in our everyday environments, like offices and homes, warehouses, factories, and on our streets. So these are just some questions I have thought of. What I'm really excited for is in this workshop, we have a wide array of speakers coming to speak today from all sorts of different backgrounds. We have grad students to industry researchers, to professors, to CEOs and CTOs of large companies and startups. And so the really cool thing here is they're all going to have a different perspective than I have. on this topic. And I'm really excited to hear what they have to say about it. I'm excited to hear the questions that you guys will bring up during our panel sessions. So these are our list of speakers for today. Just some logistical stuff. Let's go over the program today. This is a full day workshop. 9 o'clock introduction. That's me right now. I'll shut up in a couple seconds and let you listen to the actual good stuff here. So after me is going to be Jonathan Thompson speaking, and then after Jonathan is going to be Marco Hutter and Christian Yuri. Followed by that break at 10:15. That's where I was told we'll be coffee. So after the break, we'll come back to Nikolai and some Lunara, followed by Nikhil Mishra. And then after that, we'll just have a little break so we can set up our panel discussion, which will happen at noon. This will be our morning panel discussion with our morning speakers. And you'll get to ask them all sorts of questions about what they've talked about, or raise your own issues and see what they think about it, or what the audience think about it. After that, go to lunch. When we come back from lunch, we'll have at 1:45 Melanie Wise giving a talk, followed by Baba Sankar. And then we'll have some lightning talks from the accepted abstracts at 2:45. At 3:15, we'll have another break. I have been told there will also be coffee and refreshments then. After the break, we'll come back at 3:45 and have George Coinderis giving a talk. Finally, ending the day with the talk by Damien. We'll end the day with a talk by Damien Shelton. And then we'll have the afternoon panel with all of our afternoon speakers, where you can again ask them more questions about what they talked about or raise your own issues. And then we should close about 5 so that way we can all get to the opening reception for ICRA. All right, some last logistical things. All of the detailed logistical info for our talk is on our website. You can see our website here. It's robo-challenges-ws.workshop.org. Go there, you can see it all. Also, this is linked from the ICRA website. So if you just go to ICRA, click on our workshop, and link to our website, you'll have the whole program with our speakers and everything. We're recording these talks, so for posterity, if you see a cool talk and you want to show your colleagues when you get back from ICRA, check back to our website in a week or so after ICRA. I should have them posted up to see that. And finally, for questions, we have a microphone in the room, so people on site here, you can ask questions with the microphone. For people both online and on site, we also have been using this pitchpool.act link, so pitchpool.act ICRA 2022. You can submit questions there, vote on them, and then I will make sure those questions get asked to our panelists. We will have, in addition to the panel talks, at the end of every speaker, while we switch from one speaker to the next, that you'll have a chance to ask a couple of questions of that speaker. So that's the logistics of this workshop. If you have any questions or concerns, you can feel free to grab me or the other organizers. We'll just be hanging out here all day. And with that, I will transition to our first speaker, Jonathan Thompson.